Hi, I'm Crystal Newman, here to talk more about preventing violence against children. Now on this show, we share real-life experiences with you, true stories from children, and we aim to be thought-provoking. We want you to question your behavior and some of the things that you do when it comes to the young children in our lives. Today's show is all about physical violence against children, both in the home setting and at school. And we'll be hearing from some experts to tell us what they think about physical violence. Caning was reported most frequently, over 85%, slapping, over 80%, pinching, over 60%. So many ways that children have physical violence inflicted on them every day of their lives. Welcome to the show, and thank you for joining us. Today I'm with teacher Milton Kibisi. He's actually a teacher at Namirembe Infants Primary School, and we're going to talk about corporal punishment, physical violence in schools. Teacher Milton.
Yes, please.
You're very welcome to the show.
Welcome.
Okay, so what is your take on corporal punishment? What is corporal punishment?
The word corporal punishment is a kind of a punishment we can inflict pain, harm, and at times death to the child. But majorly we look at the way, the kind of punishment that can inflict pain to the child.
To the child, and this is in a school environment.
In a school environment.
Yes. So what's your take on corporal punishment today?
So time before, it was much in the school and in other schools, but most probably here it was much time before. But since we started with the Good Schools project, I can assure you this corporal punishment has been reduced.
Okay.
And I'm very sure if we continue with this program, we shall go to zero tolerance.
Now some people say that children will only learn if you beat them.
No, that's not true.
That's not true.
Not
what
true.
are the effects of corporal punishment on children?
One, the first effect, if a child is caned, the enrollment of the school will have to go down. You like it or not, because once the child is punished heavily and the parent come to know about it, most probably the parent will take away the child from the school. That's one. Two, fear among children. You see, we are teachers, and we need not to be feared.
Yes.
We need to be respected but not feared.
Thank you.
So the moment you punish the child heavily, children will again will fear you. Whereby a child will just see you coming and diverge, run away from you. So that's an impact already. Even if you teach the child will not understand because they know this teacher can punish them heavily. So those are some of the effects of corporal punishment.
I like that.
Yeah.
So what are some alternative ways of disciplining children? Because some people say punishing, I'd like to say discipline. Are there alternative ways that we can do this?
Yeah, they are there. There are so many ways. And we term this under good schools, we call it positive discipline, whereby these children can learn from their mistakes. Because caning only does not solve the problem. Being feared does not solve the problem. Because children will fear you for a short time when you are there. At the moment you go away, still the problem will be on. So the first alternative is call the child who has committed a crime. Talk to that child. Talk to children. Counsel and guide them such that they can realize that they can learn from their mistakes other than putting them down and caning them. Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Teacher Milton. Thank you for your time. And I think it's important to encourage other people. It's not the way forward. Physical violence is not going to make children better people. It will make them worse people, and they'll also be violent in the long run. I think so. Yeah. Okay. Thank you again.
The story I'm going to do for you is called How Laura Regained Her Courage. Laura is a brilliant girl. She is a P6 girl in a rural primary school. She has the courage that most adults can only dream of. She has endured years of physical abuse, starting at 4 years old, by her own father, a tax collector, and her mother, a school administrator. She speaks in a monotone voice as she describes the abuse, never wavering even once when she says, "They have beaten me so badly that I feel they have robbed me of my childhood." To her, it is a fact of life, and emotion never enters her voice as the story rolls off her tongue, like she describes what she ate for breakfast. "I was just tired and fed up of living in a house with people I feared constantly. I felt like I shouldn't have to fear somebody that stays in my own house." Laura is a very brave girl. She does not let anger, hatred, despair, or any such kind of emotions creep into her voice as she continues her story. "The first person I told was my school teacher, but she did not believe me. So I went to the school nurse. I told her some of the things that were bothering me at home. She felt like the school administration had to do something to help me. She told the school headmaster, who called for my parents to come to the school. When my parents came, they denied that the few beatings really amounted to physical abuse. They accused me of being a bad girl who does not obey her own parents. This was all the school needed to write her off as an ill-mannered girl who does not respect authority at all." That evening when Laura went back home, she was beaten even more to teach her a lesson that she must not badmouth her parents. They said that they needed to give her a thorough beating to keep her on track. "I was mad because I didn't want to be identified as a bad girl. All I wanted was for my parents to stop beating me for trivial things. I just wanted my mother and father to be nice to me, but they felt as though I was giving them a bad name," Laura said. "I was upset and disappointed. I lost a lot of weight. I didn't want to eat. I didn't want to be bothered. I wanted to drop out of school. I was just going through a lot. When a neighbor friend of my mother asked about me, my mother said, 'She's actually doing very well.'" Laura said, "I loved my mother, and we talk from time to time, but our relationship is not really close between us. My mother and father, they always say that they love me so much and that they beat me to protect me from this harsh world. But I cannot understand how people who say that they love you so much should be the very same people that beat you up so badly. I just couldn't live with the thought that my loving parents were at the same time being the very monsters that were tormenting me. I was really in a state of confusion." Laura recalls when her mother forced her to stand for hours on end, without any support to lean on, as punishment for eating roasted peanuts without permission. Her father was an accomplice in the punishment because he just thought it was okay for her to be made straight. Laura was really devastated. "Both of my parents thought that making a little girl stand for hours until she dropped was a good way to make her a very good girl. I hated my parents for that because I felt this was a very abnormal punishment," Laura said. Once during school holidays, Laura was phoned by the neighbor looking emaciated from neglect, malnourishment, and dehydration. Upon seeing Laura, the neighbor felt she was severely malnourished. However, Laura denied. She denied she was being abused and insisted her parents were very good people. "They feed me very well," she said, but she was just lying. Because she feared to tell the neighbor that she was routinely left at home with little or not even any food to eat. She feared to tell the truth, for he showed that if she would tell what happened, would happen the same things to all the authorities that would happen again, Laura said. But what really let her down was when the neighbor gave her mandazi and orange juice. She scarfed down the mandazi and scarfed down the orange juice, and she even asked for more. She was really hungry. "How old are you?" asked the neighbor. "I'm 12 years old," Laura said. "Little girl, you look to be much younger than 12. You look like 9. So much about you seems out of the ordinary," the neighbor said. That evening, when Laura's parents came back home, the neighbor confronted them. She told Laura's parents that what they were doing was criminal and that it was child abuse and that the authorities would really persecute them. Although Laura's parents admitted that they were beating her, they didn't think that that amounted to mistreating her. The neighbors scolded my parents, warning them about the possible dangers. I also regained my courage and gave testimony about how my parents were mistreating me, Laura said. Things took a turn for the better. From that day on, they improved their ways. They stopped beating Laura and they ensured that she was fed very well. Times definitely changed since then. Laura became a normal girl at last. Thank you.
Right now, I'm with Caroline Sanyu Nakalyango, a writer on children's rights from Joy for Children. You are very welcome to the show.
Thank you, ma'am.
Caroline, how did you get into writing about children's rights?
Yeah, I got into writing about children's rights mainly because children are abused and no one is there to talk on their behalf. They are being harassed just because they're children. They're being punished. They're being physically abused. So there was that need for someone to get out there and address their needs.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to speak for the children. Yeah.
That's what we're here for. Now, today we wanted to look at physical violence. You know, in our culture, it's very accepted. It's only now that we're hearing, like a lot of schools know that corporal punishment is illegal, but it's been going on for years, especially in the home as well. And sometimes people feel that if you don't physically discipline a child, that they'll probably go the wrong way in life. What's your thought on that?
Yeah, actually, it's unfortunately that we do believe that it is only through inflicting pain on a child that a child will learn. That is not the case. Mm-hmm. A child, instead of the child will get terrified. They will fear you and will always live in terror. They won't respect you, and there's no way they can ever get to know the good thing to do.
The good thing about it. Okay.
If you keep on punishing them, keeping on exposing them to that physical violence, it is not the only way that a child can learn.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
There is need for other ways to be adopted other than physically inflicting pain on children.
Okay, I like the way you put it, physically inflicting pain. Have you ever heard of any stories that maybe disturbed you? Physical violence in schools, for example?
Oh yes, yeah. I remember way back in high school, that is when I was 14 years old, we used to have this teacher. Her way of punishment was to let you frog jump up the hill. That was so horrible, in such a way that by the time you're done with that punishment, your head is terribly aching, you can't concentrate in class, you can't move well.
You're sorry, limping. Did you say frog jump up a hill?
Frog jumping up the hill.
I don't even think some Olympic athletes do that.
It's only them. Actually, it was so sickening, it was so uncomfortable for many of us. You could notice that someone has been punished by frog jumping, because they would be limping all over campus, all over the school compound, and it was really so horrible for us.
So you would see someone limping and you knew they'd actually been through that particular punishment.
Yeah, they've been abused, they've been punished that way.
And was that a form of punishment done by all the teachers in the school?
Actually not. That was for a particular teacher.
And then
there was this teacher that used to punish children, thereby holding their heads together and hitting them together. Or if you found maybe disturbing someone in class or you failed her work, she would get your head and knock it on a wall. And it was really something so bad.
As in bang your head against a wall?
Yeah, as a way of punishing you, and as if by knocking your head on a wall, it will instill some sense in you, or like if you failed her work, automatically she will have to press your head on a wall.
You know, that stories like that are very disturbing, because you imagine the teachers, being educators, would know better than that. Especially, I mean, that could cause a mild concussion. You never know what might happen. Did you ever hear stories of children who actually, you know, had long-term consequences as a result, or maybe got really, really hurt?
Yeah, for example, the example of this Nabukera girl that got banned. She was banned by her stepmother. So physical violence is not only at school, but also at home. So parents also punish their children through physically inflicting pain on them. They feel like it is only through inflicting pain on them that children will learn, which is not the case.
Now the thing is, we all know this, we hear this, but some people might ask you straight up, what is wrong with beating my child? That I am actually going to teach them a lesson and they will learn from it. So is there a difference between maybe discipline and physical violence? Do the two work hand in hand?
Yeah, actually, that's where our parents go wrong. They think that when they beat their children, they're instilling a sense of respect. They're correcting them and they're earning respect from them. But unfortunately, that's not it. Children will just live in terror. When daddy's back, they know he's going to beat us. Maybe he's come home when he's all drunk. They'll run away from you. They will not interact with you. They will not have that love for you.
They will not have that relationship.
Yeah, they will not have that relationship with you. And that will happen to them in future because they've lived in violence. They'll need to, maybe they'll think that it's only through violence a child is corrected. So we shall end up repeating that cycle. And they'll never be themselves. They'll never have that esteem. They'll never have to get that urge of them being creative.
Because that's especially in school, isn't it?
Yeah, because they always live in terror of being beaten, of being punished.
True, right? You find that a lot of people, a lot of children are even too afraid to ask questions. If they don't understand, they're too afraid to ask because either the teacher is going to say, oh, that's why you're failing, or da-da-da-da-da. Yet they should have that freedom and that courage to be able to ask, to learn better, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Well, thank you very much again for your time on the show and for talking about this. And do keep writing. Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
You've heard it, and now you know. Physical violence is the most common form of violence against children. Before you raise your hand against a child again, think about it. Is it really okay to slap, kick, pinch, pull, ears, whatever it is, cane? Is that the only way you can get through to our children? Remember, what are you teaching them? That when they get older, the only way that they can get someone to do what they want or to do the right thing is to actually lash out physically. So think about that. Children learn from you, they learn from me, they learn from all the adults around them. And of course, it is every child's right to a violence-free childhood. Thank you for being a part of the show today. I ask you to think about it some more. Yes, you think, okay, your parents did it to you. It doesn't mean it's right for you to do it to someone else. Thank you for watching and join us next time. Bye-bye.